Hey everyone, your assignment today is called The Case of the Stolen Diamonds. This video is going to walk you through how to complete it, so please do not skip watching it and assume that you know what you're doing because you definitely will not be able to figure it out. Here's your background information. Help! There has been a robbery at the local jewelry store. Over $100,000 worth of diamonds was stolen. The Broomfield PD found 2 hair samples and a blood sample at the scene of the crime. Using these DNA samples, we can figure out who was involved in stealing the diamonds. This week, Broomfield PD is swamped with police reports and is asking for your help. Your mission is to decode the DNA-based sequences gathered from the 2 hair samples and blood sample to help eliminate some of the suspects and nail the thieves. So you will be given a list of suspects with their traits. You will also be given 3 DNA strands, like the one pictured here on the left, that represent the DNA that was found at the crime scene. You will also be given a color coding chart to help decode the DNA strand into DNA bases. And then you will be given a trait chart, which you will use to decode your DNA sequences into traits to figure out who are the 3 suspects. This is the suspect cards that you are given. So these are all the people that are suspected of committing the crime, and you need to figure out the 3 of this list that actually committed the crime. To do this, you are going to divide your DNA strand into what is called a codon, which is a set of 3 consecutive DNA bases that codes for a specific trait. I'm going to walk you through how to do this step by step. This is an example, so this is not actually one of the real suspects. It's just an example to show you how to do it. So step 1 is using the color key, you will write the sequence of the left-hand side of your DNA strand, which is what the arrow is pointing to, with the appropriate DNA bases A, C, G, and T into the table. So again, you're using this left-hand side of your DNA strand. This arrow is pointing to the side that you're decoding. I also want to point out that in between each base, there is a white strip that you are skipping. That's not actually a DNA base. Some kids get that confused each year, so I just want to make that clear. So using this as an example, I would decode each color and then use this key to help figure out which DNA base it represents. So to start, I've got an orange, which looking at my chart decodes for the base T. So I'd write T in my first box. Then I've got a green, which represents G, so I'd write G. I've got another green, so again a G, another green, so again a G, and then I've got a white, which represents C. So I would continue that process until I've decoded each of these little rectangles, which represent DNA bases, all the way down to the purple. So here is my final written out DNA strand. So step 2 is to divide your DNA sequence into codons, which again are groups of 3 bases, and then decode your DNA sequence for the traits of the suspect using the key. And you'll record your results in this little chart. So I'm going to split them up into 3. So I'm going to go TGG, draw a line, GCT, draw a line, TAA, draw a line, GTT, draw a line, and then GTA is my last one. Now I'm going to write my codons, which are my 3 DNA base sequences, into this chart below. So I'm starting with TGG, GCT, TAA, GTT, GTA. Now I'm going to use this chart on the right to decode these DNA sequences into a specific trait. So my first one is TGG. I'm looking at for this sequence in the chart. Right here it is. So looking at this chart, this decodes into having brown eyes. So I write brown eyes where it says trait. Then I've got GCT. So again, I'm looking for it here on the right-hand side. Here it is. This represents having blonde hair. I would continue this process for my last 3 sequences. So I've got TAA, which stands for being right-handed, GTT, which represents being tall, and GTA, which represents a long nose. So step 3 is using the suspect cards. with the trait descriptions, I'm going to match my list of traits here to one of the people in that list, and then I'm going to write the matching thief into the slide. Now, this is actually an example, so it's no one, but what I'm referring to is these suspect cards here. So I would look for the traits that I just decoded on one of these cards, and that would represent one of the criminals in the case. So your job now is to actually complete this process 3 times in a row so that at the very end you will have your 3 criminals. Good luck.